This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the From the Back Tees podcast, a podcast from the Back Tees. I'm your co-pilot on this flight tonight, Jerry Lou, and our pilot, as always, is founder of FromTheBackTees.com, Zach Pencer. Zach, how we doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm all right. Don't nobody worry about me except for my still overly saturated blood alcohol level from Crooked River Ranch tournament. And just already back at work today and whatnot. But also joining us in the cockpit, nay, the flight deck, let's be PC here, is our navigator through this on the Open Championship, because we have a very pertinent subject to interlude into this. He is our Tiger rider, and that same athlete has won a major this year. We got Nolan Smith coming in from Portland, Oregon. How you doing today, Nolan?
Oh, I'm doing great, guys. Great to be on. Always great to hear your guys' voices, see your faces. So it's a pleasure.
How's work been? What you been doing? Playing any golf or anything?
Yeah. I've actually got out a couple times, so it's been nice. It's always nice to have the summer hours where it's sun's still up pretty late, so you can get some nice, sunset golf in.
Absolutely. I mean, you probably work Monday through Friday, right? Given your job, so I mean. I've always, unless you work in the golf industry, I've always hated gigs like that, only for that when you golf on weekends, that's when everyone's teeing off, and the rates are always higher. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, hopefully you can afford it, but it's just like, I don't know. A lot of us know about, weekend golfers and such, so. Zach, how are you? What have you been up to?
Pretty good. Haven't played too much golf, unfortunately, but besides that, pretty good. I still got the 5 days a week job too, so it's rough trying to get out there.
I can dig that. Today is day one of a 4-day gig for me that, you know what, I can say this freely, and it's not a racial thing or whatever, but they didn't really speak English, so I can just tell you guys how the round went. It's going to be a slow boat to China. Let me tell you what, boy. It was me and this other caddy had these 2 Asian ladies who work for Microsoft or something. They're from China, straight up, and they're wonderful. But I mean, I really need to, when we get off here, grab my Rosetta Stone. I just don't know which dialect of Mandarin it is that they've been speaking, because it's just like, they're nice, but it's just like, it helps in not just golf in general, but my line of communication is giving information, and if there's a communication problem, it's kind of weird, because it's like, it's same reason why I feel like I couldn't have a special needs child, because I'd just be like, I want to help you, and I know you want to tell me what's going on, but too far.
You're totally right. It'd be hard.
You're not wrong.
So, but between that, Crooked River Ranch. Some people might have seen it on Twitter. I'll only mention it to give a shout out to my friends who run the tournament. It was the 31st Norman Cooper Invitational, and he was just a guy who, this wasn't for Jimmy V or for cancer. All the money went to prizes, and it was kind of like watching a bunch of piranhas and great white sharks go at it when it came to the prizes. Maybe we can talk off air about the style of how they did it, and if you guys have heard of it, maybe. But that being said, I was with the Cooper family playing golf, and given it was the 31st, my best friend Nathan is only 30 years old, and we won the tournament. I guess we set the record, 32 under for 36 holes. I'll admit the conditions there were impeccable, guys, but on every par 5, I was hitting driver 4-iron at the longest, and on most of them I was hitting driver 9-iron. And I mean, most of the par 4s were, they were at a tough yardage at 320, where it's just you could rip a drive all day, but if you only rip it 300, even if you rip it up to 300, you're still in a tricky spot per se, as opposed to or if you hit it, or else rip it 270, which is a pretty good drive too. So I mean, the course definitely had a little bit of teeth, but in a scramble format. I don't know. And then, as I was mentioning to you guys in the pre-show runner, I was just, I guess in one of the videos, it was hitting fireball off the handle. That was one of those nights that I didn't remember, from 4 p.m. on, I didn't have any memories, and from 7 p.m. on, I only I was told I went to sleep.
Yeah, I got a glimpse of that video. You looked a little lost.
Well, as that video ended, we weren't in our room, so.
All right.
It's a good thing it's on social media forever.
Well, until I delete it, but I don't care. It needs to be seen. It needs to be known. So, fellas, before we get to talk about what is now our final major of the year, I think, and that's what the bulk of our attention should be paid towards. I would be remiss only to bring up the winner of the John Deere Classic, because it's our boy Fratelli who literally at one point or another this year, each one of us on staff has brought up, like, in all earnestness and got no jests or, like, bad looks or whatever, especially for me, because I'm prone to just belch that out. But that being said, good for the South African. What say you fellas? What do you like about the tournament in short?
Yeah, it was great. He basically dominated the whole tournament. He made one bogey, I think, all week. Putted pretty lights out, and he seemed like he was due for a win. He's a big birdie maker, so one of these events where they go really low seemed like something he would hit on. We all missed. Wrong week, but he got that dub.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say on that, but I think Zach pretty much hit it on the head. He went out there and he deserved, the way he played, he deserved to win that tournament, one bogey, and it's those tournaments, there's always someone who just goes low, and any of these guys out here can go low. So we shouldn't be surprised whoever wins those kind of less publicized tournaments, I guess I would say, or less heavy stacked fields.
Hey, pump your brakes. The John Deere tournament's right up there with the St. Jude. I would say it's probably one of the more talked about or known PGA stops for sure. But let me ask you guys this. I mean, is it really a problem seeing these guys go low? Like we had Johnny Vegas shoot like a couple 64s or something, or I mean, the guy I picked last week, Nick Watney, like he, I think, tied for 6th or something, along with Charles Howell III, and he had like a 63 or something. I don't know. There were just a lot of low numbers out there where it's just kind of like, yeah, unless you're in a major where like par is a delicious score, anyone's just going out there like they're going to the deli and taking 3 numbers. Nope, I'm taking 4. They're just like, you know what, I'm just going to stash these in my car. Like, it just the scoring isn't getting out of hand. It's just everyone seems to be getting a crack at it now. I mean, it's becoming harder to predict. I mean, that's why you don't see like my early anchor this year, Matt Kuchar, winning as much anymore. It's just like I had that guy penciled in. Like it's like this. He's going to win every time. So
yeah, these guys are all so good. I don't know. You're more of the betting expert, but I have a feeling these like first round leader bets are like crushing if you're taking the long shots.
Yeah, I can dig that. I mean, it's also kind of like you can take long props. One of them that's tossed out per se is like for a couple of years, Tommy Fleetwood would always have the lowest round of a major. It's just like, yeah, but that 63 didn't hoist no trophy for you, so who cares? I mean, I want to officially be the first one to be over Tommy Fleetwood. My dick gets real hard being the first guy who gets over things. Like that's my little hipster addition to. See, Nolan knows exactly what I'm talking about. I want to be the first one to be off the bandwagon for things. And yeah, Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, he's great, but I just don't. I don't know. Maybe it's something about like English golf.
He's totally
like,
gonna bite you in the butt. He's gonna bite you in the butt. Tommy's great, man.
He damn well should. That man is like, we live and breathe in a world where Zach Johnson has 2 majors for crying out loud. I mean, and he could be considered just in terms of playing style, not personality. He could be our Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, he's just personality-wise the polar opposite in terms.
Fleetwood could get one come Sunday. I don't hate his chances.
Well, anyways, Fratelli, God rest your soul. We love you, buddy. We want you to, between you and Curtis Luck, we can't choose who is our podcast favorite golfer.
So we do love Curtis Luck.
You have to earn it. No, Curtis still has to earn it. Curtis is, no pun intended, the clubhouse leader because he's liked 1 or 2 of our tweets, and that's 1 or 2 more of our tweets than Fratelli's liked.
It's true. Any pro that comes on our podcast basically becomes our favorite.
Step up your brown nose in Fratelli.
That's right. It's an honor he needs.
So anyways, I mean, yeah, John Deere Classic's great. The one hamstring thing about the tournament to me is it's a lot of guys have to fly like straight away if you make the cut, i.e. Charles Howell III style, shout out who took a T6 going 65-65 this weekend. But it's a lot of these guys aren't going to be playing in the British Open, and some of them are, and it's not the time. Jet lag is a thing. I mean, I've never been across the pond before, but I mean, I've been to Hawaii enough times, and I've been over to the East Coast and lived over there enough times. I get just even a 3-hour difference, but I always looked at like the John Deere's a great tournament. Maybe not to win because nobody's there, but it's a good name. It's always produced good winners. I don't know.
I'm surprised more big names don't just go there, because, like, if DJ shows up to the John Deere Classic, what are his odds to win? Probably, like, 5-1.
How many times has DJ won this year? Like, once, if not
one.
many.
I think one.
I think once, right?
Whatever, we're not the stats podcast.
Well, as maybe we should be if I'm gonna tread into these waters or whatever. But I as I've been on the air of saying or on the record of saying, I am like the president of the Dustin Johnson fan club, literally. And that being said, I would pick him to win every tournament. This tournament for the British Open, he is one of the top 3 in odds at 10-1. I mean, he's always up there, but how much is he really winning? I mean, that's why Kuchar's been the money machine this year, because he's won 3-4 times.
3.
I mean, and he's always been 3. Yeah, he's always been fledgling right there. I mean, just in terms of what I see Zach wincing.
No, I gave a fist bump because I knew it was 3.
Oh well, okay. I said 3. You're right.
So I said we weren't a stats podcast, but then I just came with the fire stats. 3 wins.
Well, I needed that. I needed that. So, anyways. The Open Championship at Portrush in Northern Ireland, as I'm told from you fellas earlier, hasn't been played there since 1951. And do we have any history or fun tidbits? Anyone ever been there before, or we just want to get straight into our who we like for the tournament and what really sets the British Open apart?
I've never been there. I know Rory McIlroy shot I thought when I kept seeing how he shot a 61, I'm like, oh, maybe this was in a practice round. This was when he was 16 years old.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell shoots a 61 when they're 16? That's just not normal. PEDs.
Was it from the tips though?
I don't know where it was from. It could have been from the edge of the green. I would not shoot 61.
No, I don't know. There's some footage of it, so I'm assuming it was some sort of highly, touted Northern Ireland amateur tournament.
So what you guys are telling me is, if we're talking about all the times you've broken 80 or set records or whatever, they don't count unless they're from the back tees, so to speak?
I guess we should stick by our mantra, right?
I think that's what we're saying.
Look, guys, I'll admit, I don't play the tips very often. I mean, Crooked River I did because that course was tipped out at just under 5,600 yards, and we were at station. I told you it was a duck shoot. I mean, it was just it wasn't even. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but it wasn't even fair. But everyone was telling me coming into it, it's not even going to be fair. They said, hey, it's going to be. Oh, anyways, but
hey, the course and everyone plays the same course, so if
that's
you
right.
The course record, you just it doesn't matter how easy.
Right, but ultimately, I guess I'm just talking in terms of we're not going to get into the USGA and handicap here, or what age who shoots what and what type of tournament or what type of round, as Rory McIlroy allegedly may or may not have done, even though there is footage of it, as Nolan tells us. So, they haven't played here since 1951. I mean, everyone keeps talking about the U.S. Open Rota. And yeah, maybe there should be a Rota. Maybe it doesn't have to be something where it's just the same 4 or 5 courses, because I'm well, really chop off a lot of arms and legs if you do that, because then I have to say yes to Bethpage and no to Whistling Straits, per se, in terms of having a Rota. But the British Open has had a Rota, essentially, for a long, long, long time now, several decades, not counting the Portrush, because, 51, it's 78 years ago, or 68.
It's a big rotation.
What's that?
It's a big rotation. Comes around every 80 years.
Well, for them it does, yeah. But ultimately, when it comes to those open course venues, open championship venues, they always seem to be in the same 8 or whatever. And I'm not going to start naming them because I probably would name 2 or 3. And
Go ahead.
We got Q's and A's later, right? Did anyone get any? Because I just got a live question.
Yeah, I
You got one. Nolan got one.
Cool. Okay. Ooh, that's a good one. This guy gave me three right here, but we can tie it into. I say nothing better than like let's throw the torch at Nolan. Now, I'm not going to hand it off to him, but there's a man at this tournament who you are our specialist on, unlike any other, and this is your existence for loving golf more than anything else. I can only assume, and I have no problem with that. As Steinfeld would say, not that there's anything wrong with that, but the only thing I want to pitch at you about Tiger Woods is I've been told he's never played the course before. So what do you, I don't know if you knew that or not, I don't know if honestly if that really matters or not, what do you, in your honest expectations here, whether you're picking him or not, and then you can tell us your picks, so to speak, what do you expect from Tiger Woods this weekend?
Alrighty, so yeah, you're correct in when saying he has not played here before. This past Sunday was his first time ever seeing that course. So one may think, oh man, this guy's got no shot. He's never. I mean, a lot of these guys though have not played this course before. That's another thing to factor in here. But let me remind you, just last year, Tiger playing a few courses that he'd never played before, did pretty well at those. So I'm not going to say that's really negatively impacting him. I don't think. I think it actually might even heighten his mental game on some things. He's trying to think the course a little more. It's his first time seeing it. He's really, trying to gather as much information as he can during these practice rounds, which he's been playing Sunday, Monday, and again today. I think he played 9 holes or so. I think he teed off of 1, and then he jumped over to 13 and played the finishing stretch. But anywho, I do like his odds to play very well, but I think I might stay away from him this week. I am finally, I think, tapering down my expectations for LT Gray here. I probably was a little off base picking him to win the U.S. Open. I think it's just hard for.
No, I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt. I was shaking my head because you weren't off base. Like the Tiger hook was in my mouth too. Just missing the cut at Bethpage is kind of a black eye. It was like somebody accidentally slipping and falling. You're just like, oh shoot, and then up came Pebble. You're like, well, who knows? I mean, he was for all intents and purposes supposed to win it, but anyways, sorry.
Yeah,
continue.
Yeah, and we're all subject to fall under the spell of if anyone's going to do it, Tiger's going to do it, and the fact that he's not playing well just makes you more and more not want to pick him. And then it's like, oh, that's right when he gets you. That's right when he's like, yeah, I'm Tiger Woods. I'm going to go win this thing, even though I haven't played in 5 weeks or something like that.
Sure. Oh, of course.
He, I don't know. I've been listening to his pressers. He does a little interviews here and there. He's been very open about actually how rusty he kind of feels. He was saying he's been having trouble shaping the ball a little. That was just yesterday. Chambly was, of course, actually applauding picks for Tiger because he shapes the ball so well, and that's what you need to do at a lot of typical open layouts. Now that also kind of leads me to talk about how I don't really think this is fairly typical open layout. I mean, it is links golf. It is. There's not a single tree out there. It's right off the coastline there. There's tons of bluffs and nasty rough and a lot of pop bunkers, but it's not playing the hard and fast and speedy kind of golf that Tiger would love to see. It's fairly soft. He was alluding to. A lot of balls aren't really rolling out. They're taking a hard first bounce and biting a little, but it's not the hard fast golf that Tiger likes to play. which we'll see how that goes. It's supposed to rain a lot. The wind's supposed to pick up. I always like Tiger in tough conditions because it kind of weeds out the guys who aren't really thinking about that as much and just trying to push through the elements. Where Tiger kind of embraces the elements usually. But maybe this is a different Tiger. This is a Tiger who the elements have, affected him a little more than we thought. And whenever it's cold, it seems like he's not playing very well.
He did mention it. Yeah, exactly. The U.S. Open. Yeah.
Happened there. Happened at the Genesis earlier this year.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
LA's gone through another hot summer like usual. It's just like it, because being quick tangent, like everyone from Southern California, pipe the hell down anytime you have any type of weather whatsoever, because it's always going to get hot again. So it's like you want it to get record cold. You want it to be, oh my God, we didn't hit 70 all the whole month of February. It's like, well, February has the fewest amount of days, but also congrats. That's actually good for you in your fire element. But anyways, it when it's cold for Tiger, I get that. I mean,
yeah.
You're not the first I've heard say it, unfortunately. And it's so weird because I saw somebody do on Twitter, like they were comparing his swing off from all years, 2001 or 2000, and then now. And I forget who I was talking to, but Zach, it might have been you, and I apologize if I forgot, but I kind of like Tiger's swing better now because he obviously has to swing a certain way with his back and his condition and his surgeries and everything the way it is. And not that it's a bad thing or something you have to be. It's something you have to be considerate about. Really, it's just because. And then I hate to say it when you have to bring the cold weather and the elements in. Then it's like, well, it's kind of like a miracle seeing 5-time Open champion Tom Watson do what he almost did back in, what was it, 2008 or 2007? I forget which one exactly. But he essentially did what usually all the elements do to the lesser or older men. It's just like, he withstood. He wasn't battered down. And anyway, that being said, I'm worried about Tiger and the conditions.
What do you think the winning score is going to be around?
Ooh, that's a good question. What was the winning score?
That's a really good question. I haven't even thought about that.
So I think if it plays close to even, I think Tiger has a good chance. He seems to always be there when it plays tough.
Interesting prop.
It's supposed to start getting pretty nasty out there. I've already heard, a lot of people saying, "Oh, Tiger already drew the bad weather for days 1 and 2, Thursday, Friday." He's in.
Wait, you just essentially said he teed it up. I mean,
I know, right? And what I do like is he's in more afternoon-ish tee times, so he'll get some chance to warm up that back a little.
That's going to be his only saving grace, is because it's going to be cold in the mornings and it's going to be windy, making it cold in the afternoons. Mm-hmm. So, if anything, if he has more time to prepare, that's the big thing.
As far as I've seen, though, there's not too much of an advantage for either tee time. No one seems to know. Like, it gets crazy there. The wind goes up and down so much. Could be from hole to hole, so I wouldn't think that's too much of a concern.
Yeah, the last course condition I guess I'd want to touch on is apparently I may be totally wrong with this, but I've heard they're rolling at only about an 8 on the greens, which is extremely slow, especially for Tiger. So Tiger's never done well on slow greens, so that's also kind of another reason why I'm essentially I think I'm going to settle on a mid-teens finish for Tiger.
I don't hate it. That would be a good finish regardless.
Yeah.
What are Tiger's odds at? I didn't see him in my top 10.
They've been creeping up ever since. I think he started at 12-1, and now he's all the way to 16 or 18.
Tiger's odds, I feel like, are very flawed because he gets so much action just based on people wanting to see him win. Like that dummy who bet on him to win the Grand Slam. I was reading something there, like he opened as the favorite, I think, or maybe 2 points back.
Nolan, you just to say it again, you said you picked Tiger to take 16th in the tournament, around there?
Yeah, I actually picked 14th.
14th, stand by your pick, yeah.
I mean, my projection has him at taking 15th in the tournament, honestly. So, it's like I just can't put him in the top 10, but he's right at literally at the cusp of the top 15. And I don't know, I was trying to create an argument in my head to be like, well, the British Open, produces most random and single winners out of them all. And it's just no, that's not true at all. If you look at the U.S. Open, that's scattered with tons of Roy McIlroys and Orville Moody's, and one of those people is fictional and one of them is non-fictional. Look it up later, folks. But that being said, majors just have a lot more focus on them. We know Tom Watson is 5, Tiger Woods is 3 Open championships. I'm trying to think. Was he our last back-to-back winner? He won 02, 05, and 06. And I'm not too sure if when I know Padraig Harrington repeated PGA championships after that and won a British one of those years, but he didn't. Sorry, I had my phone on and I was using Google and it heard us talking, or it heard you, Nolan, and all of a sudden started repeating your words and just took off in the search. So did anyone just for fun happen to get? And going back to something you said, Nolan, real quick about Tiger. What I appreciate him being open about his condition and everything is that, like, I think it's kind of this like new age thing that we're seeing where it's just like you're signing more autographs, you're being more open, you're being more socially available. I mean, it's just kind of the way things, not unfortunately or fortunately, but just the way positive social trends are working, especially for golf. I get made fun of all the time that I use Twitter. I'm just like, well, if you're really into golf, because I only use Twitter, they're like, if you're really into golf, it is like the ideal platform. And there is not many quote unquote ideal platforms for, like, say, squash, tennis, rugby, basketball. It's just like, I mean, it's like golf can be the most interactive and personal thing in the social media platform that is Twitter. And I don't know. I like to see them being more in touch with us. Granted, I stopped following a lot of the big stars, like all the way from Tiger Woods to Tony Finau. I don't follow Tiger Woods on Twitter. What does he say on Twitter, guys? It's not. What do you? And when you tweet at him, what happens? Nothing.
It's all automated.
Which is fine. Dustin Johnson's is pretty automated. Like, it's all pretty. But then that's why I get pissed at Tony Finau, because his is like all automated. I'm like, and who are you, Tony Finau?
Tony,
I mean, this
Tony
is your
Finau.
religion that it does your resume. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Tony. Everyone loves you, and evidently I don't. You're fine. You're perfectly fine. That's probably why I don't do.
Tony should go off the automated and just build his persona like that even more, because he's a very likable guy. So
why not? Oh my God, he's like my old man's favorite golfer, and I'm just like, why? I don't know. I just like him. Like, good for you.
He probably doesn't have a very good personality. That's probably why.
Yeah. Well, and then, well, now hold on. He is Mormon, which kind of explains a lot. So you can pump the brakes right there. But the person I was about to bring up in terms of who I was about to bring up that fits that bill of the more you find out about, the more you're not really too thrilled about. I think it was a 2003 Open champion, Ernie Els. I love Ernie Els. He has the greatest golf swing of all time. It is it's probably the most teachable and most like amazing swing ever. Where you're just like, how did he do that? It's like, well, because he just had perfect angles and timing. That being said, I keep hearing lots and lots of stories about how drunk and racist he and his friends can be, and how. I don't want to. Maybe I shouldn't have said racist in the headline.
Allegedly.
But here's the point. There's a lot of Ernie Els private jet stories where if you're leaving a tournament and the Big Easy happens to sidle up to you and you guys have been having a couple drinks or a couple lines of blow or whatever, and he's just like, "Oh, why don't you jump on my plane? I'm going to wherever you fucking go." And next thing you know, you're on his plane. It's just like Ernie Els is like, "Oh, me and Bangkok, we had some fucking times." I mean, it's just like it. But he also like kind of said it with, you could hear some shame in his voice, where it's just like, "Yeah, I went too fast." Sometimes it's just like, "Oh, really?" And he was just like, I mean, it worries me like Wolf of Wall Street level shit. I mean, which I'm fine with, because these guys are like, multi-zillionaires. But that being said, everyone loves the Big Easy, and it's just like, oh, he's a white man from a very terribly racist country if you're white, and he's super rich, which means he's super elitist and whatnot. And the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, oh, I wouldn't be surprised. He loves his drink and partying if he probably has a few opinions you hear after he's had a few. So that's
yeah.
But
before we move on, I gotta defend my boy Tony one more time. You old men need to get on the gram, because he's very open and honest on the gram.
Oh, really?
That's cool. I have already coined 2 Instagram accounts, like, just because I wanted to have the domain, so to speak, and I've still yet to really link them up with anything or operate them properly. Because, once I saw that whole like share all button that came out in like a lot of features a few years ago, I'm like, why do we need 4 social media platforms when I can just like have one? It's like on The Office with Brian with Woof, where it's just like you get like a text, an email, a page, a fax, a phone call, a voicemail, just like you get everything at once.
You get a Woof.
Why am I using 7 things? Woof.com.
I don't know about where you guys want to head next, but I definitely want to talk a little Rory McIlroy before we this.
No, we still got about 20 more minutes.
Is he one of your picks? We could go into our picks if he is.
Well, before you do that, let me just like lead it off with saying no shit in terms of my projections. I have him number 1 winning the tournament. The machine does, and he is, and that it. I'm not. Oh God, fuck. Let me rephrase that. I don't have him winning the tournament. He just has the best odds, and he is the only one with the best odds at 8-1. And then I got Koepka and DJ at 10-1.
I have one question for Nolan because it's sort of Tiger related. Did you see how Brooks ghosted Tiger wanting to play a practice round, and people are saying it's because Brooks' caddy knows the course?
Brooks gave him the cold shoulder or something. What?
That's a power move by Tiger to try and learn the course.
Depends on which side of the story you hear.
Yeah, I listened to they asked Tiger about it during his press, but I didn't hear anything come out. Why didn't they ask Brooks during his presser? Hey, did you give Tiger Woods the cold shoulder, dude? Like, but yeah, I don't. They're friends, I believe. I remember Tiger and him hugging it out during the PGA the past 2 years, I think.
Yeah, but I love it.
I wouldn't be surprised within the past 3 years they would have had at least more than a half a dozen photo shoots together being Nike boys. And
yeah.
Hell, I knew the name Brooks Koepka back in 2015. Like, yeah. I mean, and he's like a force now. I mean,
you guys. I mean, we're on this topic right now. Did you hear about how he only practices now for?
I think it's nonsense. I don't buy it.
Well, look, it makes sense. And that makes perfect sense to me. And I was trying to think of a great counter argument to it to be like, yes, see, this is you can only get away with this in golf. You can't get away with this with like dieting or exercise, or it's just like, fuck going to the gym. I'm just gonna pose in front of cameras. It's like, yeah, or just I'm gonna trust my metabolism. It's just like, no, you have to go to the range. You have to work on your game. But guys, I didn't know how to word the tweet, but take it from me. I'm no PGA Tour pro. I'm not even a scratch golfer yet, though. Like, my golf game has improved since I caddied for those Wall brothers in the 4-ball, and they were the first ones I heard who said essentially hashtag fuck practice. I mean, that might be my next t-shirt that I want us to make is hashtag fuck practice. Like, it is all about, like, I try to think to myself, like, just think about 6 inches in front of and behind the ball. And just the rest of your body and your brain will get your club and your body if you do it enough and you're good enough. That's why practice, you can't get good at golf without practicing, period. That's not what they're trying to say. What the best golfers are doing right now, 100%, is they're just saying we don't fly training missions anymore. It's just the sorties. It's just the dog fights. It's just the mission.
He said he does practice. That was the part. That's why I don't buy it. It's not that he said he doesn't practice at all. It says he only practices for the majors.
Okay, now when I hear him say that sentence, as Brooks Koepka saying it, I hear something very specific that only applies to him and a few people. Zach, I'll start with you. What's your definition of practice? And don't give me Allen Iverson's speech.
I was going to give it, but now I can't, I guess. I would say like a good couple hours on the range, putting green, spending some time with the coaches, all that.
So like literally hitting the grass room, hitting rocks, like getting repetition down, working on like how to hit an automatic cut, how to hit something 5 yards shorter.
Exactly.
Oh. Now, see, I would say, before I ask Nolan the same question, I would argue that when you're on the tour level, they tend to know most of that shit. Case in point, I heard years ago, and I'm sorry, by years ago, I mean 2 or 3 years ago, that Cameron Tringali, he never practices a shot inside of 50 yards. That includes chipping and putting, and part of me is like, now that sounds phenomenal. That sounds like incredible touch and just automatic. Like, and there is like a visual sort of dexterity when you just walk up and kind of just see slopes and the undulations and everything. I mean, there's also a lot of like natural talent and hand-eye coordination in it too. It's like, that's why it goes to show you like Yasiel Puig can be as muscly as he want to, but he might not be the best at baseball. Maybe he should have played football or something. I mean, golf is very special. That's why I really love this thing that's come up in this argument where it's just kind of like, yeah, who needs to practice? Now, some people consider practice going out and playing 18 holes and not posting and not, like, say it's not a tournament round or not, like, for money or anything. Nolan, what do you consider golf practice?
Yeah, I would consider playing as a form of practice. I would also consider grinding on the range and, getting your alignment set right when you're putting. But, maybe the only, I don't know, I could see Brooks, this being true just during maybe this last year or two, because his game has been that solid and he's just like, I don't want to really mess with anything. I'm just, before I make the championship, I'm just going to make sure everything still feels the same. I'm stuck on the fact that he gives off this feel that he doesn't give a crap about any other tournament besides majors.
That might be
but
true.
Isn't that good though? Isn't that good though? I mean, no, he's pulling a Ricky Bobby on us, where it's just like, if you ain't first, you're last. Now, granted, that doesn't apply to these PGA Tour events because he's not going to be one of these guys. He just played the John Deere. I mean, I don't know if he even made the cut or not, or he played in the, what was it, the 3M, one of those two tournaments. He's wildly unspectacular. And that's what he even admitted. He's just like, he didn't say, like, I don't care. He's just like, you guys know I play for the majors. And really, if he goes out and shoots a 70 every day in the John Deere, yeah, he might not make the cut. But if he shoots a 70 every day in a major, he's going to win that major.
Isn't this... Sorry, I'll cut in, sorry. Isn't this just a simple equation that for some reason he's missing, though, that practice before a major equals really good results? Not practicing before a regular PGA Tour event is not equaling really good results. What's missing? Oh, I just need to practice a little before my regular tour event, and I'll probably win it.
Well, maybe that's why I asked you both the question of practice, because maybe practice is something that's 100% perspective oriented. Like, what if, God forbid, when he plays in the non-majors, that's practice for him? I mean, that's why it's just like he's just take two. He's slowly sharpening his sword over there. Just that's a hard 3 words to say in a row, guys. Slowly sharpening swords.
Slowly sharpening swords. Slowly sharpening.
Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna try it.
Yeah, but I like that, but I don't want him to backtrack on this. Then I'll start losing respect for him. If he keeps this up and he's, he sticks to this schedule of, I really just want to practice before majors. That's fine, and it's working for him. So.
Well, that's why I'm a full-time resident, year-round resident at Camp Koepka, because hashtag Camp Koepka, because I think he is about to hit this realm. Well, we want to see him pay it off. Hasn't he already paid it off a bit? I mean, like, he is the only person I've heard people earnestly talk about putting into the realm of talking about how good Tiger's been in our lifetime. Because in our lifetime, the only one who was good before Tiger, who was really dominant like that, was Jack. And to a lesser extent, like the second half of Watson's career. But then you got guys like Tom Kite, who's essentially just Dustin Johnson 1.0. He won one major and zillions of dollars. It's just like, yeah, that's it. It's like that. That's not dominance, though. So Brooks Koepka has in a couple years just shattered so many molds that part of me wants to look at, like, now that we've seen Tiger in the past 15, 20 years, we know how much a human rocket ship can go. That's why I'm loving what Brooks Koepka can do, because it's just like, this guy's just taking this whole approach of like, hey, all he's doing is aim small, miss small. He's like, aim at the flag, go at the flag. If you're missing the green and you don't like the rough, don't bitch about it. Try to improve your wedges. It's just like, get your accuracy better. It's just like, if he isn't right, he's taking like a football player mentality or like an MMA fighter mentality, which is like, hey, if he's faster than you, you get to the gym earlier, get faster or whatever. He's just taking it to golf. That's all. I mean, all creatine jokes aside from his appearance, but
yeah, that part of his game and mentality I've always loved. He doesn't care about how the golf course is set up and all that. I think
the golfer shouldn't. Good golfer shouldn't.
I hate when guys are complaining about everyone's playing the same course.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Well, but I've noticed in the U.S. Open, though, the thing that always makes me enjoy the U.S. Open is a handful of guys complain about it every year. but it's never been the same handful of guys. I think the only person that maybe is because nobody else had cameras on anyone else was John Daly was known to bitch about the U.S. Open. It's like, yeah, I don't think he's made a cut in the U.S. Open. I mean, I'm about to Wikipedia that, even though because it's completely unrelated. But Nolan, do you like Rory? Is that your pick? What's up?
I do really, really like Rory. I like a lot of guys. I think it's gonna be. I really hope we get like 12 guys that are within like 3 shots of the lead, like in the back nine. That'd be pretty sweet.
Well, that reminds me, actually. Somebody asked it earlier, and we never really got to a hard answer. What do you think? What did we think the winning score was? Didn't you ask that, Nolan? I mean,
I asked that. But...
Yeah, my captain Zach asked that. Yeah, I think it's probably gonna be a high single digit under par. I would expect.
I'm gonna try and find a prop for it if I could.
I would expect like an 8 under, but.
See, now I feel so stupid saying that because I feel like that's just that's like the golden number of any major where it's just like that's not too crazy low, that's not too unrealistic, and but at the same time it's like we could get a slobber knocker where it's just like even par wins and +2 was second place, and I mean, it's like remember when Tiger won in Bethpage? I mean, in the 02 in the U.S. Open, he was I think 4 under. Then Phil was 2 under. Then somebody was at even. Somebody's at 2 over. Then it really started to taper off. It's like, oh, so the first top 5 was actually 10 shots within each other. Jeez Louise! I mean, it was like staggered. I mean, I love how august the tournament finish at the Masters, but we're not always wowed with a big winner, i.e., parentheses see Danny Willett. But that being said, I don't know. I do like seeing. Nobody really lights it up at the British Open unless you're Louis Take My Money Oosthuizen or Tiger Woods at like St Andrews or something. I mean, when Rory won the British Open, he went berserk, didn't he?
Yeah, he won by like 4 or 5.
But wasn't his like under par after 72 holes like 18 or something? I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. So the prop bet is -5.5 for the winning score.
Interesting. Man, you know what? I think that speaks a lot to the unknown of the course and the impending weather being like a nice combo. And you know what? We can almost. That's what the funny thing about a small road of the British Isles courses. It's like they all feel unknown every single time you get to them, except for St Andrews, which is like, oh well, it's either the weather's great or the weather's bad. That's it. That is it about St Andrews. I mean, I love St Andrews. I always wanted to go there sometime, but. Let's see. I'm curious to find John Daly's. Oh, he's cut T33, cut T45, T27, withdrew, didn't play T70, didn't play T75, didn't play, withdrew T53, 68. Hasn't played in the U.S. Open since. Oh gosh, he hasn't played in the U.S. Open since 2005, when I think his British Open exemption might have run out.
Oh no! Jeez. Oh no!
Oh my goodness! Well, that was too bad. Yeah, John Daly has never been a fan of.
If you want my for real picks, then
yes,
I am going to go with a feel good story of getting the major monkey off the back, and I think our Puma boy, Ricky Fowler, is finally gonna come through. I think he's always been pretty darn good in the Opens, and I feel like for once, not many people are talking about him finally trying to get the major that he so needs. So I like Ricky. He's at anywhere. I saw him on Golf Week as like 20-1, but I saw him on Golf Digest as 38-1. So I was pretty psyched out about that's a range. But
I got him right now at crikey finishing 13th. So my numbers don't go that far. I'm really glad you said that real quick because that ties in my one Twitter Q, and this will lead to all the A's. This is from Adam Kovalt at Foster Kovalt. He asked 3 questions, and you're going to get all the answers right now, Adam, or Foster.
Shout out, Adam.
First question is, who wins the Open? That's what we're talking about, baby. Number 2, will Ricky ever win a major? We can touch on that in a tiny bit of extra.
You just heard it.
Best FanDuel lineup I don't know that off the top of my head because, as Zach might have alluded to, I might be the betting expert here in this digital room. However, when it comes to fantasy golf, I am pretty foreign. I played a few times. I'm still not that good at it, but Dan D'Annunzio, our guy, is... Shoot, Zach, we got to get him on the pod. That guy, he actually is way closer to home on a lot of his picks and numbers than you would think. I mean, and that goes to show you he knows what he's talking about and does it for a living, so to speak. I just do it as a hobby, and then I tell you, and I text you, and I
yeah, he's been crushing.
Site, and I have a podcast. So
shout out Dan.
Yeah, shout out D'Annunzio.
Dan's a plug.
Yes, I'll keep it brief. Will Ricky ever win a major? Hell yeah, he'll win a major. He has gone from being, I've said it on this podcast before, he's gone from being a 54-hole player to a 63-hole player to he's going to be, I believe Ricky's going to be a multi-major champion, honestly. I don't think he's going to like start going berserk, but it's like if we live in a land where Dustin Johnson, Jim Furyk only have one apiece. I mean, it's just that there are great players out there who don't have the hardware, and he's obviously one of them. I don't think it speaks to his demeanor because he is the coolest, calmest, collected cat out there, and he's a great example and role model. I think I always look at him as like our Arnold Palmer for America, where it's just like, who's the most brandable? Who has been the most brandable the past, since he's been on tour, like the past 8 years or so? I mean, Ricky Fowler's been the balls. All he's missing is a major, and he's going to get some. Trust me.
Yeah.
So, that leads me to asking you, Zach, because we probably want to wrap this up in about 10 to 15 minutes. What are your thoughts on Royal Portrush?
I'll get into my pick, who I think's going to win. We spoke about him a lot, but it's Brooks Koepka. He's won 4 of the last 9, like you said. He just shows up for majors, and while his game might not fit so great, he does say that his caddy, Ricky Elliott, don't want to mess that up, is like knows the course as well as anyone except for Graham McDowell, and I think here it's a pretty big advantage to know where to miss all that. And clearly Tiger must have thought it was a huge advantage if he wanted to play with him, if that's the reason why he wanted to.
Yeah, Elliott's a member out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is correct. He's a member. Yeah, I did hear that.
Jerry, you're giving me some look like you hate that pick. Let's hear it.
Well,
Give it to me.
I feel like that's great. I mean, Nolan picked like the number 1 guy that my projections have to win it. You picked the guy taken second. Why don't I just take the next guy at 10-1, Dustin Johnson, and then nobody else comes close except John Rahm at 16-1. Which I'll back up. That's actually my pick. Is for reals. I like John Rahm. I'm taking John Rahm as my flyer at 16-1 because I've been liking this guy a lot, and he is the 54-hole player. He's the 36-hole player. You just don't know what John Rahm's going to show up on Thursday, Saturday, Friday, Sunday. But ultimately, I like, and it's not because of any recency or whatever, it's because of his beautiful Stinger 2-iron he can whip all over the place. Our reigning U.S. Open champ, Gary Woodland, at 60-1. In a field and a course in a full of conditions of why not Gary Woodland? That's what he did at Pebble, so why not Gary Woodland to be like the next greatest no-name 2-time major winner in 1 year? Which I don't know who the last one was, so.
I don't, did I misspeak? I'm picking Ricky as my favorite.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was giving you the Rory treatment.
I like Rory a lot, but I'm going with Ricky. You want to hear my long shot?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm going off the rails with my long shot.
If you say Rory Sabatini, I'm hanging up right now.
No, but I will give you a hint. It is another major monkey could be booted off the back of this stout European.
Zach, go ahead.
Ooh, I don't even have a guess. Victor Hovland.
I love me some Victor, dude. The ladies love.
He's got the biggest major monkey on his back, Victor Hovland.
Wow, oh yeah.
I did not won by now. I'm going
Matt Kuchar.
No. The big burly Lee Westwood.
Oh.
At 151. Wouldn't that be something?
Boo! Boo! He has the worst golf swing of any professional golfer ever. I hate that guy. I want to see him win too because it's never gonna happen. Oh.
Yeah. Is he still
defending at Augusta?
Does he still wear brown shirts sponsored by UPS?
I always wanted him or Louis Oosthuizen to win the FedEx Cup because it'd just be like, what do you do up there with your UPS shirt?
Yeah,
That'd be great.
that would be great.
Oh, goodness. All right, so sorry, Nolan. You had Ricky. My bad. I had John Rahm, and moreover, Gary Woodland at 60-1.
I'll take Rory too, though. You can give me Rory just as a side, little.
I mean, whatever. No, that's how my rant started. I mean, I was thinking of the R's there, and I'm just like, Zach's taking this, and you're taking that, and his name's Eldrick Woods.
I have a pretty good long shot as well. Although,
what else you got?
He's European, Eric Van Rooyen. 95-1, which is not the greatest odds, but I genuinely think he could be up there.
I think that's ridiculous. The odds are that good.
Yeah, see, you know what? I'm kind of in between, trying to think like maybe he's perfectly like striped because he has essentially become Europe's Charlie Hoffman, where it's just like, why is this guy like always on the front of the leaderboard?
He's the next Tommy Fleetwood. He's just gonna pop up.
I don't know what I'm sorry, I hadn't heard of the guy before, and down at the U.S. Open, I was on the first tee, and he was, and there was a lot of people watching and pulling for Eric Van Rooyen. Did I get that right?
Yeah, he's been dominating on the European tour. It reminds me of Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah.
Flavor of the week. Hey, we all remember Beef Johnston, right? Andrew Johnston. We haven't seen that guy teed up in like a year and a half, and I was about ready to like bring him over here and have him live at my house under full sponsorship of just my flag. Are you kidding me? And he's gone. There's a guy you need to follow on Twitter anymore. You just see him come up once a month and be like, "Oh, you're not dead." No, I mean that because Jared Lorenzen died recently at the age of 38, and God rest his soul, backup quarterback in the New York Giants. He late in his life, kind of, we don't know how he passed away, but like had multiple organ failure. But he didn't take care of himself. Not that he was I'm sure he was into some narcotics recreationally, but if you looked at him, you're just like, whoa, did you eat Ralphie May? I mean, is that?
He wasn't known as the fittest guy.
Well, even when he played football, but that was kind of his thing. I mean, you remember that big fat lefty from Kentucky? Oh my gosh. That was so much fun to watch him play football. It looked like a video game character when you're playing Madden 64 and you make your quarterback 7'2", 400 pounds. Like, what's happening?
Oh, that's a very good.
He's a lefty.
The prototypical my player, yes.
Hell yeah, he was a lefty and his number was 22. So, Zach, did you have any quitter Q&As? Take two. See, I told you this is hard.
I didn't have any, but I think Nolan, you had one, eh?
Yeah, I got it pulled up right here. My good boy at Ian Coyer, just keeping it real, putting his name right out there. Ian Coyer, longtime friend. Ladies, if you're single, hit him up. He's in the Seattle area.
Wow. Is he crushing the Tinder game?
Is he in the room?
No.
He looked over there again.
He's
looked over there again.
He's an eligible young bachelor up there in Seattle. Anywho, let's move on.
Shout out Ian.
He states, with Koepka and McIlroy both sitting at 4 majors, who do you think reaches 5 first? And do you see it?
Rory.
Go.
Wait, no. I have to go Koepka because I picked Koepka to win.
Exactly, you picked Koepka to win. What are you doing here?
Okay, if Koepka doesn't win this one, then I think Rory.
Now that's funny. I'm sorry, I said it real fast because I felt it was that sure thing where I'm just like, Koepka, next question. I mean, but that's just how I feel about Koepka, and I love Rory, but that Zach, you just put yourself in a little tailspin there. You gotta twist your jets around, pull out.
I got this. Koepka will win this event, but if he doesn't, any pick we pick, first of all, we know they're not going to win. Nolan has a chance. We don't know if Nolan's jinxed yet. Me and you were screwed. So Koepka, no chance. Dustin, they're gone. So now Rory's a lock.
I just love this. I love this fail-safe contingency he's come up with here. It's like the best board bet where it's just like, okay, Rory will win the next major in front of Koepka if Koepka doesn't win tomorrow.
That is correct.
Do you think Koepka's going to have like a bad bean burrito or something? Just like do you know something we don't know, or just like he has one shot? But
I wish I knew something we don't know, but that is correct. One of my predictions will be right.
I
I
think I'm gonna go with Rory because I don't think either of them are gonna win this week, and then I think Rory is finally gonna do it next year at Augusta and get that career Grand Slam. So
They're gonna do it.
yeah, I think he's
Well, thanks.
calling it
Ian,
now.
Thanks, Ian, for the question. We will definitely hear people yelling at people on next week's podcast regarding, or on Twitter at least, or I'd be like, I didn't pick Kefka, but I told you not to go there. I told you not. Ow. Oh man, that brought the jaw pain back from that surgery last week. Woo! Excuse me, I'm getting a little wound up. Zach, before we wrap this up, if there was anything anyone wants to throw in about the British Open while Zach is giving us the Canadian fun fact of the week,
I don't have. Oh, well, do you have any facts before I get into it?
Oh, I got lots of facts. Well, actually, this isn't so much a fact, but to address the Area 51 thing, boys and girls. Oh my goodness, I would very much this whole petition where everyone's just going to storm the Area 51 grounds and sometime in September. Like, I would love to see that happen.
You guys will just shoot them down one by one.
No. A bunch of people are just going to get stranded in the desert. The Nevada desert is probably the biggest expanse of nothing land. That's why all those places are out there. And as I told a couple guys today, this is probably the line of day. Like, hey, and speaking of Area 51, you want to know why they call it that? Because there are 50 other areas there, guys. And we publicly know about Area 8, 7, 11, 51, and 52.
51 has the aliens, though.
Well, it's not even about the aliens, though, dog. It's mostly about secrets, and more of the secrets there have been more about inventions and spy technology.
And aliens.
And good spy technology is kept even from its own citizens.
And aliens.
We don't have any aliens.
Or do we?
Aliens?
We don't know unless we invade Area 51, clearly.
According to the publications that I read, which was that book by Annie Jacobson, and it's so far the most comprehensive thing that's on Area 51 at all, and then we'll wrap this up because this is bullcrap. Those were little mutated Russian people. And I know that sounds ridiculous, like I never thought I'd say a sentence like that, but hearing it from so many people where they're like, no, we saw the little mutated people. We were confused going like, why would Russia send these to us? Did they get them from outer space first, or did they like mutate their own children? Because we're sitting around, they're sitting around going like, this will send America into a tizzy. And it's like, yeah, guess what? It's done. We're in 2019. What's happening? We're in a major freaking tizzy over nothing. I mean,
there still could be more aliens.
No, there's definitely life out there. I'm just saying we don't have possession of life. We don't have any alien bodies or alien spacecraft. We have alien friends. They don't want to talk to us. You ever notice that like we're starting to get more reports now from jet fighter pilots talking about the same stuff where they see this craft moving a certain way? Well, it doesn't have to be aliens piloting that craft. That's just nice craft. Number two, you ever notice that like once the internet got around, like the aliens kind of like had like a nice 200 like light year buffer zone where it's just kind of like, oh, now we can actually see what these people are doing, and we don't have to go down there and abduct them and see what's happening up close and personal. They just have to tune into YouTube and see it's just a bunch of cats falling off shit. I mean, it's just if I was like extraterrestrial life, I would pass over Earth going maybe in a couple 100 years. We'll give them a phone call, but no, not right now. Look at us. Look, we have stupid hair and clothes on and stuff.
They're coming.
We're still driving. We're driving cars, which was like the next greatest thing since the horse, and horse has been around forever. I mean, as humans, we're big. We're just bigger, barely bigger than ants. Come on.
Oh, they're coming. But I'll get to my.
You're the conspiracy theorist. You think everything's happening.
Oh, they're coming. I just like to keep people thinking. You never know. Kinda. The moon is the moon real? We don't know. Do we?
Or is it made out of green cheese? You decide. Hey.
Exactly. But instead of a Canadian fun fact of the week, I'm just going to ask you guys, are you worried about the fact that Canadians are taking over the NBA?
How are the Canadians taking over the NBA?
Well, we had like...
Nolan, hold on. Heel boy, heel.
We had like 7 picks.
Answer one, Zach, and then let me ask Zach one question, then I'll let you off the leash. Nolan,
I'll get to it.
What in the hell are you talking about, Zach?
Jamal Murray, stud. Andrew Wiggins, not a stud.
Okay.
Let me get to it. We had 7 players picked in the first round of the draft.
That's true. I remember hearing that.
You ever hear of MVP? You know who the MVP is? The most recent MVP in the NBA. Do you know who it is?
A Greek fella.
Yeah.
Canadian. Brandon Clark. Summer League. You ever hear of it?
Oh my.
MVP.
He just gave you a D-League slap across the face there, Nolan. Oh,
He's
man.
dominating.
You know what? You know what I'm all for? You know what I'm literally all for mostly in the NBA draft is I want to see the most Europeans drafted in the first round. That's where I want to see the ballers come from. That's where it used to come from. It's like we're in terms of us white guys or whatever.
They're not taking over. Soon we should honestly just have Canadian teams.
I think I'm falling under Zach's spell here. He might be right. Toronto won the championship.
Wow, I completely left out the best part.
How I ditched the Blazers so quickly about 20 years ago. I mean, a couple bad things happen. The next thing you know, you look at your father and you say they're never going to be this good ever again. And just like with curling, you just like go the puck like.
But in all honesty, fuck the Raptors. I'm rooting for the Blazers. They're the only team that doesn't.
Talk about a curveball. He's throwing you heat and then off speed. He's just trying to mess you up and woo you over.
Well, I hate the Raptors. I love the Canadians in the league. Do the Blazers have any Canadians?
It's not even a paradox, do they?
No, the Blazers do not have any Canadians. I'm trying to think of the last. I'm usually pretty up to speed on that.
Damon Stoudemire.
No.
There weren't many Canadians in the league like 10 years ago, so if it wasn't recent, I would guess they may have never had one.
Yeah.
Cam Neely.
Hey, so I got one for you. In the spirit of the Open, I wanted to tag on to your Canadian fun fact and bring up an Irish fun fact of the week.
Ooh.
Since we're going across the pond from Scotland to Ireland. So, you guys know of St. Patrick?
Of course.
Was he the guy who killed all the snakes on the island, and then there's no more snakes in Ireland now because they're on an island?
Well, you probably know way more about him than I do. Then, if that.
I know of his day.
Or is he the potato guy?
That's a good call right there. There's a good chance he's the potato guy. I think no, he's a Catholic saint, right? And
the potato guy.
The only potato guy in Ireland, but he's always been. I think all of his sigils and stuff are Celtic and Irish stuff like that. Anywho, he in fact is not even Irish.
Wow.
Yes. Not Irish. He was born in Great Britain.
Liverpool?
Yeah, possibly. It's been... This is all tying into our conspiracy Area 51 talk, that it's not all true stuff that we don't even know if it's real. It was either Wales, Scotland, or England, so who knows? Right.
I mean, it's like St. Christopher's the patron saint of police officers and travel, or it could be the patron saint of deli sandwiches. It just depends on the website you go to. So.
But everyone always associates him with Ireland because he eventually, became a St. Patrick in Ireland because he was kidnapped at the age of 16 by some Irish raiders.
Wow.
Interesting. Now that's a good story. I was about to say married into the Celtic family. I get it, but no, it's actually pretty cool. It's like when you get free, you have to live amongst your captors, and they were Irish.
Yes, and then he skinned all the potatoes and filled in all the potholes and threw
him at all the snakes.
And now we have a great day named after him with green beer.
God, that green beer makes me sick so much every year. I guess
you got to do it.
Crappy food coloring. Anyways, fellas, this has been a really great pod. We've gone a little over an hour. So, Nolan, plug away. How can people reach you? How do you want people to reach you? What's the best way?
I typically like the good old telegraph or fax, but nowadays you can reach
personal phone number.
Twitter at Nolan T. Smith. Very, very simple. Instagram at Nolan T. Smith. Our emails are, on the good old fromthebacktees.com. Hit us up there. We love comments. Zach just posted my latest and greatest Tiger article on there. I love to get comments on there. Tiger Talk, hashtag Tiger Talk. So whenever you feel like it, hit me up.
Well, there you go. Also, we want to give a shout out, as always, to Big Heads Podcast Network. We kind of had a lot to talk about and got off the rails and didn't do too much housekeeping. And our team is killing it as always. Tucker is doing great with the ever vigilant reciprocating of a social media campaign that is second to none, and he can give you a school in terms of personal self-promotion, advertising, and everything, and all the above. Danny D'Annunzio's got our he's the FanDuel guy.
Danny D.
He's the guy who has been closest to the sun out of all of us, and yet none of us has gotten burned. Most of us have frozen to death. So he's at least maintaining a positive carbon atmosphere in terms of making picks.
Fair.
And then we got our Kiwi over in Ireland posting up Blue Horseshoe. He's been I like his. Does anyone else watch horse racing at all?
No expert.
I do it in America, but I mean it's really tough to do because it's just like that. You want to talk about like something very regional or like very like kind of like semi-national if your nation is very small. I mean, because like when I watch horse racing, it's usually out of like 2 different places in California, and it's just like, oh well, I have to like go find the right TV feed at the right place to get that. I mean, horse racing is very interesting, and it might not be around much longer. It's a very very barbaric, old-fashioned sport, but when it comes to like gambling, it's a lot of fun for no reason whatsoever.
And then you wonder why you're watching a stream of some random race in a small town in Ireland at 3 a.m.
Well, as Scott Van Pelt said on the Nolan Up podcast recently, it's when you're in the UK and like a golf event's on, or a race, or a match of any kind, or a game of any kind. Nobody's a gambler, nobody's a degenerate gambler over there. Everyone just is like. If you're both watching TV with somebody in a pub and they like, who you got on the match, and they say like, oh, I didn't make a bet, they'll look at you and be like, what's wrong with you? So it's like everyone made a bet on the way here because they're watching the match and they want to have a fun outcome. I mean, gambling is actually just a way of life over there, so that's why they call it the Ladbrokes. Those were the first guys I ever listened to in terms of online betting and TV betting. So
they budgeted in, right? They got a budget for gambling. It's safe betting.
It's also, I mean, it's borderlines a lottery, and I don't like a lottery. This is all performance-oriented. So, with that being said, I'm Jerry Lou. You can find me at Jerry Lou Looper1 on Twitter, and that's pretty much the only way I choose anyone to find me, because Jerry Lou isn't even my real name, turns out. But that's the only way you can find me if you want to caddy at Bandon Dunes. I got one more trip to SoCal, but after that I'm going to be working my nards off through the December 1st, essentially. So, except for you, Thomas, I know you're coming to town around my birthday on the 6th, 7th, 8th December. I'll still caddy for you. Shout out Thomas Quinn.
Shout out Thomas.
Zach, where can they find the main nerve that is our pipeline?
You can find us at From the Back Tees on Twitter, FromTheBackTees.com, the usual. And we'll be back.
The usual. Enjoy the Open Championship, and we'll see you from the back tees.
See you guys.